Okay, y'all, so we are just going to jump right into these powder highlights. I really don't think I have anything to say other than excuse my lack of makeup right now. Life is life, okay? Life, it's just, cut me some slack, okay? I didn't have time. Let's get into this. We are going to be talking about my favorite powder highlights, favorite so far anyway, and I'm gonna do some honorable mentions that I don't physically have with me because I ran out of them and haven't repurchased or whatever, but I just feel like for somebody, you know, a normal gal, I don't always like to repurchase things immediately when I run out of them, no matter how much I love them, because I have so many highlights. I have so many products in general that I love that you're gonna see how many powder highlights I have. I don't need to run out and repurchase this one specific one that I like, but you know, I have 20 other ones to go through before I get something new, you know what I mean? So, and on top of that, companies are always coming out with new releases, so I'm like, okay, I enjoyed that, something probably is going to come out soon that I can pick up rather than that and try something new, maybe love it, maybe hate it, but at least I tried something new. I will pop up prices and pictures and stuff like that for everything, and I'm going to swatch all of the shades for you as well. The majority of these are drugstore because that's just pretty much how I roll. So anyway, let's just get started. And are you loving this background? I love a busy background. If you don't like that, I'm sorry, but I do. I love it. I already got a little buddy right here on my cork board, and I got my cute little light back here. She's purple today. She can change colors, so that might happen. So let me know. And I made this, my little garland of tassels. So if you're loving my background, let me know. If you hate busy backgrounds, I'm sorry. That's how that's gonna be. So I like it better than like a plain background. The stuff that it's sitting on this ledge right here might change as I get some new stuff, but I really like what's happening back here. So anyway, let's get going. So I'm going to start with my e.l.f. highlighters. I have 3, and technically one of these is actually a baked blush, but I mean, this is a highlight. It's gorgeous. It is the baked blush in the shade Pinktastic from e.l.f. And this is probably my favorite out of all of the e.l.f. highlights that I'm going to mention. And I'm going to swatch all of these for you. I'm probably going to put in separate clips of them swatched, but look how gorgeous. Just because I have so many shades, I'm going to put up clips of them being swatched. So yes, but so gorgeous. I also have Blush Gems. This is their actual highlight. Now, the caveat to the e.l.f. actual baked highlights is that I think a lot of people have said this on the internet so far. This is the shade Blush Gems, and this is the shade Moonlight Pearls. I normally have a light one and a dark one for when I'm fair and when I'm tan, just so you know. That's why I have so many different shades of highlights, because I do fake tan. Sometimes I get natural tan, sometimes I'm super pale and haven't seen the sun in weeks. That's why I have so many, you know, varying shades. But like people have mentioned with these a lot on the internet, is that these come, they're pressed in such a way, I think that the top is so hard that if you initially open these up straight out of the package, straight from the store, put a brush in them and put them on, you will get like no payoff. So you have to take like a spoolie or something and like scratch off the top layer, which does suck, but they're also like $3. So it's not that bad. If you had to do that with like a Becca highlight or something, it'd be like, why is this $50, you know? But with these, it's $3 and they're beautiful. So I feel like buying these and scratching off a little bit of product, or if you're fucking like broke or in high school or something, it's really not that bad because you're still saving so much money as opposed to getting a $50 highlight from Sephora or something like that. So just keep that in mind. You're gonna have to like scratch off that top hard layer, but these are wonderful. And when I wet my brush with any kind of setting spray, these become so metallic. Like, they can be so natural if you just put on a little bit or just kind of pack it on. It can be like that beaming highlight. But once you hit these with a little bit of setting powder on your brush and go in like that, they are metallic. So you can do so many things with these highlights just by changing the amount that you use, the brush you use, whether or not your brush is wet or dry. These can be very, very versatile. And I've noticed that some highlights, they get really chunky and kind of beat up on your face if you use a setting spray with them. Even high-end highlighters have done that to me, and these don't do that, which I think is really great as far as versatility goes. So these are amazing. From e.l.f., picked them up at the drugstore. I believe they're about $3, so they're really great, and they have a decent amount of shades if I can remember properly. e.l.f. in general, their shade range isn't always the best. I think it is because they're so inexpensive. So that's kind of a bummer, but I think with stuff like highlights and like their contouring stuff, they seem to have a decent range of shades, if that makes sense. So my lips are so chapped. Ah, much better. I feel like I put on chapstick in every single video. Okay, so then we're going to go with Wet n Wild. Now, this is an oldie but a goodie. You can tell that this is the one that I have is really old. It like barely latches anymore. I probably should get a new one because this is like $4 or $5. Really great. Wet n Wild Color Icon. Okay, this is called a bronzer. Please tell me why you would ever say that. It's literally called the bronzer. It has SPF 15, and I don't care what they say. This is called Reserve Your Cabana, is the shade of this. There's 3 or 4 shades of this. This is the lightest one, and it's a very subtle highlight, but I love that. So that is, it's pretty subtle, but if you like that natural highlight one, pick this up from the drugstore, $4. It's a nice, subtle, beautiful highlight. I love this without makeup on. I love this with a full face on, and I really like this for days when I feel like maybe I powder my face too much or my skin is really dry that day. I can take this with just a big fluffy brush and dust this all over my face, and it's like subtle to make me look nice and dewy all over. But it's not such a metallic highlight that it's going to accentuate texture or pores or anything like that, which I really loved. This has saved my ass on so many occasions. There's some days, especially during the winter, that my skin is so dry. I will put on a foundation, like a luminous foundation, and go in with this with a sponge and pat it on over my whole face. And then at the end, when I set it with a setting spray, it just melts into your skin and I look so dewy, even though underneath that makeup my skin is like alligator skin. So this is amazing. It's so clutch. This really amps up that dewy factor, but it's so natural. It just looks like you're glowing. Like, oh, it's so beautiful. This is definitely a good pickup, a good staple to have in your life, in your kit, in your everything. So that's great. This one, I think I have the No. Okay. This is also from Wet n Wild. This is a little bit older as well. That one's pretty old too. So like it's an old release. So this is the Wet n Wild Shimmer Palette in the shade Boozy Brunch. I can only use this particular shade when I'm tan, and it looks like there's lots of brown and pink and stuff in it, but when you rub it all together, first of all, it's so soft and beautiful, and then when you swatch it all together, that's it right there on the bottom. It's this beautiful gold shade. Oh, I love it so much. And if you weren't able to get your hands on the Wet n Wild Fergie collab, this is almost an exact dupe for the highlight that was in that collab. That was like years ago at this point, but if you're really curious or if you really want a good drugstore gold highlight, this is so beautiful and it's so soft. Like even just rubbing my finger in it, I can feel how soft and like plush it almost feels. It goes on like butter. Oh, and I think I mentioned this in my liquid highlight, but if you didn't see that video, none of these highlights are going to have glitter in them. I don't like glitter. I like a soft highlight that doesn't accentuate your pores or your texture. It just looks like a glow on the skin. I don't like glitter. I don't like chunky stuff. I just want it to look like a nice sheen. So I'm not going to say that about every single one because that's how every single one of these is. They're beautiful in their own way, but what they all have in common is that there's no glitter. They look like a beautiful sheen on the skin and they don't accentuate pores or texture. So just keep that in mind. That goes for every single one of these highlights that I'm talking about. And then of course the Wet n Wild highlights that everybody knows about right now is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting powders, which I have every single shade of and backups of some that I can't even hold all of the ones. These are all the ones I can fit in my hand. There's, oh my god, and shatter them. Oh, it didn't break. Okay, so yeah, so I have every single shade of them. I'm going to just swatch one right here so you can see me swatch it, and then I'm going to put in a clip of all of them swatched on my arm with their names. These are beautiful, amazing, gorgeous. This happens to be the Blossom Glow shade. I'm going to swatch it on my arm right here. And that is, I believe, the lightest shade that they have, and it is absolutely freaking beautiful. And they also have some really cool, interesting shades. They have like a really lilac purple one. They have some kits that have like bluish green, like turquoisey highlights, like those rainbow highlights. So if you're really into that, or if you have a festival coming up, those are all coming clutch, and they're like $5, and they're freaking amazing. If you can see that, again, it's just this beautiful glow. And with these, just like the e.l.f. ones, if you put a little bit of any kind of setting spray or Fix Plus or anything like that on your brush and then go in, they become so metallic and they're beautiful, and they last all day whether you use a setting spray or not. They're absolutely wonderful, and I love them so much, and I'm pretty sure I've used them in a plenty of videos, so you've seen me use those before. This puppy is an oldie but a goodie, and I'm honestly not even 100% sure Hard Candy has this anymore, and I can't even remember the shade because all of the packaging is worn off. But it is from Hard Candy, and it's very affordable. Hard Candy is really affordable in general. If I can find the name and the shade and everything, I will put it up. This is so gorgeous, such an oldie but a goodie. It's this beautiful, very unique, I would say this shade is really unique. It's this beautiful, like almost like a beige. It's like a very beautiful beige with like a sheen and maybe like a little bit of gold, and it's so beautiful. I find that this works on me okay when I'm fair. I like it a lot better when I'm tan, just because it is a little bit more golden, and that doesn't look so good on me when I am fair. Just putting it out there. But again, so soft, and it's just a nice sheen, not a drop of glitter at all. And when I am fair, I can use this as kind of like a blush topper to add sheen to more of my cheeks, and it looks absolutely gorgeous laid over any type of blush that I have found. It's really great. So I like this too. I'm sorry I don't know the shade of it. I honestly don't even know if Hard Candy even offers this anymore, because this is such an old product, but it's great. So then we are going to hop into these Milani highlights. I have 4 of them. I think that's all of the shades. They do now have 2 trio palettes of different shades of highlight, and they have some eyeshadow and face palettes with beautiful, gorgeous highlights in them that I am desperate to pick up. I need those so badly in my life. I just haven't got around to picking them up yet, but I have all 4 of these single shades, and again, I'm going to just swatch one right here, but I am going to insert a clip of all of them swatched with like the names and stuff. This is 01. This is the lightest one. Hopefully I'm like doing these justice right now, but you'll see them in the little clips. They're absolutely gorgeous. I will say that these are packed a little bit harder, so I 99% of the time use a fan brush for my highlight. With these, I have to go in with a little bit of a more stiff brush, something like this. With these highlights, a fan brush is just not going to pick up the product enough. I really have to get in there and like rub it in there to get the highlight to come out, but it's totally worth it. These are absolutely beautiful on the skin, and this is the darkest shade right here, which I think is like really good for only having 4 shades and being a drugstore brand. I really do think that that is an amazing shade to have for people with deeper skin tones. I think that's really great. I think that this is a really good dupe for these in general. I think have really good dupes for the Becca highlights. The formula isn't the same, but the color is very close, which I can appreciate. So if you've been wanting some of the highlights from Becca, you might want to check these out in person and see if you know the color is right for you. The formula isn't the same. The Becca ones are a little bit softer, but those are still really good and definitely still easy to work with. You just have to use kind of a stiffer brush like this. You can still use a fan brush, but it's just not gonna, it doesn't give me that payoff that I want. It's not as strong as I would like it to be. I do personally like a beaming highlight, so if you like a natural highlight, then this with a fan brush will still work for you. By all means, you can do that, but just letting you know, if you really want that payoff, just use a brush like this or use your fingers. So this is the only like proper palette that I really have that's just highlights, and this is the NYX Strobe of Genius Illuminating Palette. They have a few things in this Strobe of Genius line, which are all really wonderful. I've tried and ran out of stuff, and this is the one that I have repurchased, if that tells you anything about how much I love this. This is my second one of these. I go through this like ooh water. I really like this, and I like this for traveling a little bit better than my singles, just because when I travel, I like to just not have to worry about my makeup. I grab my go-to palettes that have a bunch of different shades that will work when I'm fair, when I'm tan, because sometimes like I'll leave for a trip with fake tan on and it fades while I'm on my trip, so I'm pale by the end, or I will be pale and then go somewhere sunny and get a little bit of sun, and so I need different shades. So I hate to just take one or two things that I think will work. I like to take palettes like this for my cheeks, for my eyes, for everything, you know what I mean? So I really love traveling with this. That's why I've gotten a second one. Really, really like this. The only downside is that it doesn't have a mirror, but I can live with that. So you can see there's 4 small ones that are kind of like funkier colors. Like this is a really, really yellow gold. This is a pretty lavender, and then 2 like very pink shades. And then these are like the more wearable shades, I guess. So like very, very fair, a little bit deeper, and then this like nice champagne color. And I love every single one of these. I use these on my eyes a lot, and then these on my face. I will sometimes, when I'm tan, mix this one in on my face as well. But it's so gold and like yellow gold that I can't ever use it on my face when I am fair, but it is really beautiful when I'm tan, and it will look gorgeous on deeper skin tones, especially mixed in with this one. It's beautiful, or mixed in with the champagne one. Oh my God, it's so gorgeous. So I really like this, and I think if you're a working artist or you're trying to be a working artist, this is really clutch to have in your kits, because it will help you with different skin tones. Because even sometimes on like real fair girls, this lavender, at least mixed in with a color like this, will be very flattering and not cast a shadow where like maybe this by itself would. So I really do love this. I love this for me. I love this for if you're working on somebody else or working on clients. I think this is really great. And you know, it's NYX. It's a little bit more expensive, but totally worth it in my opinion. Like I said, this is the second one I got, and that is kind of a big deal, because like I said in the beginning, sometimes I run out of stuff and I'm like, I love it, but I'm just gonna wait for a new release. If I repurchase something, that's a pretty big deal. Like having the backups for those Wet n Wild highlights, that's a sign to me that this is like a ride or die. You know what that means? So this is definitely a ride or die for me. This is gorgeous. So definitely pick this up. Now, the only high-end highlight that I have on hand is this one from Stila. This is Stila Kitten. They had Kitten as an eyeshadow, and then I think it kind of blew up on YouTube that it was a really gorgeous highlight, so they made it into a highlight. Now this, okay, and it comes with a mirror. I don't want to blind you, but it does come with a mirror, which is pretty cool. A lot of Stila stuff does come with a mirror. I don't love how bulky this is. I have never traveled with this because it is so like square and bulky, but I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, and the highlight's really gorgeous. I use it as a blush topper when I'm fair, and I use it as like a cheek highlight when I'm tan. It's so soft when you touch it, but when I put a brush in it, it's just not the same. I mean, it's right there, like so gorgeous. Not that I don't hate it. I'm making it sound like it's so terrible. It's just kind of like, okay, if I like press into this, it like goes down, if that makes sense. But it's like, and it kind of has that feeling. It has that like mousse to texture kind of feeling when you put a brush in it, which I don't love, but I don't hate it either. But you know, whatever. So I just thought I'd let you know in case you like hate that formula. That's kind of the formula that the Stila highlights, all of the ones that I have tried in like this packaging. That's kind of how it is. It feels like this like almost mousse to powder formula, especially when you stick your brush in it, which is fine. This color is totally worth it, but if you really despise that formula, then you probably won't like this. But really gorgeous and lovely, and I've tried a few of their shades. This is the one that I still have. I think I've given those other ones away just because I found myself never using them, and I always reach for this one. So really like that. Now the ones I don't have on hand that are going to get an honorable mention is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfectors. All of their highlights are really great. And the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powders, the singles and the like trios that they have, all really beautiful. The Becca ones can be natural and you can build them up to this like gorgeous beaming highlight. And the Hourglass ones are a little bit like way more on the natural side. You can really build them up, and you can use Fix Plus and stuff like that. But it's really, those are more of the glow from within kind of highlights, which I really like. And some of those I can use, like I use this one where I can put it all over my face if I need to, if I have that shade on hand. And again, neither of those formulas have any glitter or anything like that. They're very natural. They don't accentuate my texture at all. Sometimes I can get some dryness, especially, you know, I put highlight in my T-zone because I'm so dry, and I get some dryness right here and even on my cheek area, and it never accentuates dryness. They're really, really beautiful. So those two are going to get an honorable mention, even though I haven't repurchased them or anything like that. I honestly just haven't gotten around to it. And again, especially with high-end makeup, new stuff is always coming out, so I feel like it's not as pressing for me to buy something that's always going to be there. Like those Becca highlights are just always there, you know what I mean? But sometimes they come out with limited edition stuff and yada yada blah blah blah. So that's my 2 cents on my favorite powder highlights. And yeah, so I hope you liked this video or found it helpful in any way. Just like my last highlight video, I haven't tried every single thing out there on the market, so if there's something that you really love or you think that I really need to try, I would love to know what it is. And everybody can just comment down below their favorite highlights from the drugstore, from high-end, from like anywhere, from indie brands. Doesn't matter. It's gonna be, I mean, I want to know what they are. I want to try them, and everybody else probably wants to know what they are too. So if you want to leave those down below, or just let me know what videos you want to see in general. I do have a fair few festival looks coming. That's what I wanted to post today, to be honest. I feel like I say that in every video. This is not the video I wanted to be posting today, but I want those to be so, so perfect. So the next video that I am posting is going to be a really fun bronze glam to festival look, if that makes sense. So I'm going to show you how to get glam and then show you how to turn it into a beautiful, gorgeous festival look. That is coming the very next video, and I'm really, really excited about it. So keep a lookout for that. I do post every Tuesday and Saturday, just so that you know, in case you're new. And I would love if you gave this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That would just, it would make me so, so happy. So yeah, other than that, I think we are good to go. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just have a good one. Bye.